Continuing in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, text 28. Avyakta dini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakta nidyanam eva tatraka paridevana. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Accepting that there are two classes of philosophers, one believing in the existence of the soul, and the other not believing in the existence of the soul. There is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non-believers in the existence of the soul are called atheists by followers of Vedic wisdom. Yet, even if, for argument's sake, we accept this atheistic theory, there is still no cause for lamentation. Apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifested before creation. From this subtle state of non-manifestation comes manifestation. Just as from ether, air is generated. From air, fire is generated. From fire, water is generated. And from water, earth becomes manifested. From the earth, many varieties of manifestations take place. Take, for example, a big skyscraper, manifested from the earth. When it is dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifested and remains as atoms in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains, but in course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. Then what cause is there for lamentation, either in the stage of manifestation or in unmanifestation? Somehow or other, even in the unmanifested stage, things are not lost. Both at the beginning and at the end, all elements remain unmanifested. And only in the middle are they manifested. And this does not make any real material difference. And if we accept the Vedic conclusion as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time, antavanta ime deha, but that the soul is eternal, nityas yukta sarirana, then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. Therefore, why lament the changing of a dress? The material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is something like a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky or sitting on a chariot as a king. But when we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated on the chariot. The Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of the non-existence of the material body. Therefore, in either case, whether one believes in the existence of the soul or one does not believe in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation for the loss of the body. Hari Bol. Yeah, so there's some interesting points here. It says, from the subtle state of non-manifestation comes manifestation. Just as from ether, air is generated. Now that is a very interesting statement. From ether, air is generated. Look up the meaning of ether. E-T-H-E-R. Sometimes we think that ether and air are the same thing, but apparently not.
So this is one of those five elements, right, Maharaj? Like the
Earth, water, air, yeah.
and then ether. Ether is that space. So this is because in Bhagavatam also it is described that first sound vibration from the sound space is created,
Yeah.
and then from the space creates the air is generated.
Yes.
So these are the five elements like ether, air, fire, water, and earth.
Okay, five elements.
Five elements.
Mm-hmm.
And these, I mean, even subtler are the mind,
Intelligence and
intelligence, and
false
false
ego.
ego. So it's actually everything gets generated from the false ego.
Yeah.
Right? We read that in the Bhagavatam. Like false ego is the starting point of everything in this material world.
Mm-hmm. Well, what does it say about ether?
So here, this clear sky, uh, the upper regions of air beyond the clouds.
Looking for the chemistry term, Maharaj.
For example.
In organic chemistry, ethers are a class of compounds that contain an ether group, an oxygen atom bonded by two organoyl groups, alkyl or aryl. Is that no?
Well, read some more. Let's see. What else says
It's
this?
Wikipedia. Let's see what it said.
So yeah, go ahead.
They have the general formula ROR, where R and R represent the organoyl groups. Ethers can again be classified into two varieties. The organoyl groups are the same on both sides of the oxygen atom. It is a simple or symmetrical ether, whereas if they are different, the ethers are called mixed or unsymmetrical ethers.
I hear it says ether. From ether, air is generated.
Yeah, here, for example, another definition is a very rarefied and highly elastic substance, formerly believed to permeate all space, including the interstices between the particles of matter, and to be the medium whose vibrations constituted light and other electromagnetic radiation.
Okay.
So that's the space. Basically, the space is
Covered by the air. Covered by ether.
yeah, space is covered by ether, and that's like in fact, the planets. Even Einstein, I think, said something like this, wherein it's like think of even the space we think is
Empty.
but it's actually covered with something that holds all these planets.
Yeah.
It's almost like an elastic matter, and that's what creates gravitational force. That's his understanding. That's his realization.
Of course, that's wrong, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
You see. So there's only two things that have been, let's say, somewhat experimented, and that's gravitation and uh, and what is the other one? Electromagnetism. Yeah, those are the only two things that have been somewhat experimented. The gravitational energy is not really fully understood by the scientists, although they think they understand it. So, do you see them making anything from gravitation? No. From electromagnetism, they're making a lot of things. Are they making anything from gravitation?
I mean, they use that understanding to figure out how much speed, let's say, rockets need to get to in order to get away from the Earth or the satellites and so on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe. You want to look that up?
Yeah.
So from, the electromagnetism, they've made many things from that. If we understand the Vedic explanation of gravitation, it gets really far out.
The understanding of gravity has led scientists to create and develop numerous technologies and theoretical models.
Theoretical models, that doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
One is satellites and space exploration. Second is global positioning system. Then the gravitational wave detectors, astronomical telescopes, artificial gravity. I don't know what artificial gravity. Then geodesy. Geodesy is the science of measuring and understanding Earth's geometric shape, orientation in space, and gravitational field. Then the tidal energy, understanding gravitational interactions between Earth, Moon, and Sun has led to the development of tidal energy technology. Tidal power plants generate electricity by harnessing the energy from the tidal movements, which are driven by gravitational forces. Then even flight and aerospace engineering and general relativity applications such as curvature of space-time has been confirmed through various experiments and observations. And then finally, medical and biological research, such as studies on the effects of microgravity on human body, which is conducted in the space stations.
Which is what?
Inside the space station, they're experimenting on the effect of gravity on human body, things like on space missions.
Do they know what gravity is? Can they what is their explanation of gravity? Let's hear what they say.
So gravity is a fundamental force of nature that causes objects with mass to be attracted to each other. Here are the key points. Newtonian gravity. According to Isaac Newton's law of universal gravitation, gravity is an attractive force between two masses. The force is directly proportional to the product of the masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between their centers. General relativity. In Einstein's theory of general relativity, gravity is not viewed as a force, but rather a consequence of the curvature of space-time caused by the presence of mass and energy. Massive objects cause space-time to curve, and objects move along the curved path in this space-time. This curvature is what we perceive as gravity. So this is a visualization is, think of like a fabric, and then that is stretched, and then we put like a ball, let's say a metal ball. So now that stretched fabric is now pushed down by the ball, and as a result, the fabric is applying pressure on the ball.
Yeah.
So imagine, but that fabric is in all directions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea, that because the pressure that the fabric is applying on the object, that's the definition of gravity.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, in space also, when the object is put,
mm-hmm.
it is essentially taking away some space, and then as a result, the ether is applying pressure on that object.
Mm-hmm.
And the bigger the object, the more space it has to take, that means the more pressure. So that's why he explained that the gravity is directly proportional to the mass of the
body.
body.
Well, according to Vedas, the principle of gravity is, well, there's several explanations of it. One is it's being held, like things are being held in space by what's the name of that?
The airs, right?
It's the snake that has all these heads.
Anantasesha?
Yeah. That's one way of understanding gravity. Another way is it's being held in space by the will of the Lord. Of course, that's not exactly a clear explanation, but Krishna can hold things in space just by willing it.
Yeah, he does talk about that in the 15th chapter, 13th, 15th chapter. Rama Vishikali.
15th chapter, 13th verse.
Yeah.
Dam avishya chabutani darayami ham ojasa pushnami chosadi sarva samobhutva rasatmaka. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. Oh, there you go. That's why I said it's held by Krishna.
Yeah.
I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. So Prabhupada says, it is understood that all the planets are floating in the air only by the energy of the Lord. Excuse me. The Lord enters into every atom, every planet, and every living being. That is discussed in Brahma Samhita. It is said there that one plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, enters into the planets, the universe, the living entity, even into the atom. So due to his entrance, everything is appropriately manifested. When spirit soul is there, a man can float on the water. But when the living spark is out of the body and the body is dead, the body sinks. Of course, when it is decomposed, it floats just like a straw and other things. But as soon as the man is dead, he at once sinks in the water. Similarly, all these planets are floating in space, and this is due to the entrance of the supreme energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His energy is sustaining each planet, just like a handful of dust. If someone holds a handful of dust, there is no possibility of falling. But if one draws it in the air, throws it in the air, it will fall down. Similarly, these planets, which are floating in the air, are actually held in the fist of the universal form of the Supreme Lord, in other words, Virat Rupa. By his strength and energy, all moving and non-moving things stay in their place. It is said in the Vedic hymns that because of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sun is shining and the planets are steadily moving. Were it not for him, all the planets would scatter like dust in air and perish. Excuse me. Similarly, it is due to the Supreme Personality of Godhead that the moon nourishes all vegetables. Due to the moon's influence, the vegetables become delicious. Without the moon sign, the vegetables can neither grow nor taste succulent. Human society is working, living comfortably, and enjoying food due to the supply from the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, mankind could not survive. The word rasatmaka is very significant. Everything becomes palatable by the agency of the Supreme Lord through the influence of the moon. Okay, so here it gives an explanation uh, of gravity, where it says, it is understood, well, the verse says, I, meaning Krishna, enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon, and thereby supply the, well, anyway, the first part of that verse says that Krishna is holding everything in orbit. And the purport, it explains it more. It is understood that all planets are floating in the air only by the energy of the Lord. The Lord enters into every atom, every planet, and every living being. That is discussed in the Brahma Samhita. It is said there that one plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma, enters into the planets, the universe, the living entity, and even into the atom. So due to his entrance, everything is appropriately manifested. When the spirit soul is there, a living man can float on the water. But when the living spark is out of the body and the body is dead, the body sinks. Okay, so basically, Prabhupada's purport is saying that it is the Paramatma that's holding everything in orbits.
Mhm.
And the Paramatma enters into all the planets and all the living entities and even into all the atoms of the universe. Now that's a good explanation. I like that explanation because you can, make all these other explanations, but this one makes sense because uh, why is it that um, everything seems to be working automatically? That's because of the presence of the Lord in every atom of the body, of the universe, etc. So we have infinite paramatmas present everywhere. And because of that, everything is working.
Mm.
And of course, that's what Krishna is saying here. I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. There you go.
Because each
So
planet is all. Go ahead.
without ether, we will sink,
Think.
like sink. S
What do
I
you
N
mean?
K, like the
Think.
body.
SINK. And
Yeah,
SIN. Yeah.
yeah. So with
Yes.
the body
Well,
sinks.
well, let's not mix the words up. It's the Paramatma, the expansion of Krishna into every atom of the universe and in the body of every living entity. And in the purport here, it's the 15th chapter, verse number 13. Krishna says, I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. And in the purport, it says, it is understood that all the planets are floating in the air only by the energy of the Lord. The Lord enters into every atom, every planet, and every living being. That is discussed in the Brahma Samhita. It is said there that one plenary portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Paramatma, enters into the planets, the universe, the living entities, and even into the atom. So, due to his entrance, everything is appropriately manifested. So, it's the Paramatma, the expansion of Krishna into everything that is, according to the Bhagavad Gita, the principle of gravity, as well as many other things. So let me see. I have my Brahma Samhita here. Let me see what it says in the Brahma Samhita. Huh?
Nan Paramatma. Nirantarastam.
Gravity. Okay. What about gravity? It doesn't say anything.
552.
52?
552, yeah. So I worship Govinda the primeval,
Yeah. Okay.
by whose order the entire universe with its numerous planets move in a regular orbit. That is 552. Yajna, this Yajnaya Brahmati Samrita Kalakshetra Govinda Malika.
So it says the sun, that's not 52.
In the 52nd part of it, yes, Yajnaya Brahmati Samrita Kalakshetra.
The sun, who is the king of all the planets, full of infinite effulgence, the image of the good soul, is as the eye of this world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. That's 552. Purport. Where are you reading from? That says, Yachak Suresa Savita Sakala Grahanam.
Oh,
Where did you read from?
I just Googled and which one is that one? It's Yachak Savita Grahana.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm reading here. It says, but when the living spark is out of the body is dead, the body sinks.
Thinks, yeah. One second. Interesting. Interesting.
544, Maharaj?
44?
No.
Okay.
I think
The external potency, Maya, who is of the nature of the shadow of the Chit potency, is worshipped by all people as Durga, the creating, preserving, and destroying agency of this mundane world. No, that's not it. No, no, that's another verse.
Is that not 44?
It's another verse. Yeah, verse. Let's see. Do you know which number that is?
Yes, here 44.
44?
Yeah.
Okay, I can find that. 544.
No, that's not the one.
Huh?
I think it's
No, that's not that. Well, let me just look at it here for you. No, it's not that. Is it yes, Chuck Suresh Savita?
That is 52 Maharaj.
yeah, that's it one.
The especially if the sun is the king of all planets, full of infinite wisdom.
Which one is it?
52 Maharaj.
Yeah, okay. But it says the sun, who is the king of all the planets, full of infinite effulgence, the image of the good soul, is as the eye of this world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. It's not that one.
So that is the only verse which has grahana, planets in it.
Uh-huh.
That's the factors also I can find planets
Okay.
in Brahma Samhita.
All right. Well, we will.
Here,
Sakala Grahanam, of all the planets. Let me read the. Let's see. So this is Bhakti.
Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
Yeah. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The sun, who is the king of all the planets, full of infinite effulgence, the image of the good soul, is as the eye of this world. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, in pursuance of whose order the sun performs his journey, mounting the wheel of time. Let's see what he says. Certain professors of the Vedic religion worship the sun as Brahman. The sun is one of the hierarchy of the 5 gods. Some people target in heat the source of this world and therefore designate the sun, the only location of heat, as the root cause of this world. Notwithstanding all that may be said to the contrary, the sun is, after all, only the presiding deity of a sphere of the sum total of all mundane heat, and is hence a god exercising delegated authority. The sun performs his specific function of service, certainly by the command of Govinda. Well, that's talking more about the sun.
Sun being the
Source of
all
heat.
light and heat.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you put, let's say, a ping pong ball in a box, a closed box, and pour and put a flow of air, eventually the ping pong ball will go up and be held in the space of the box. So, and if it is heated air, it goes up. So that's an experiment. Why don't you look that up, that experiment? It was where you have a heated box and a flow of hot air and a ping pong ball. It can be held up by the heat waves. Obviously,
Maharaj, the Brahma Samhita verses 35.
which one?
35.
35. Okay. Go ahead.
So in Bhagavad Gita 5:13, it is said that it is understood that all planets are floating in the air only by the energy of the Lord.
Yes.
The Lord enters into every atom, every planet, and every living being.
Paramatma. Yes.
That is just in the Brahma Samhita. So the verse that Prabhupada is referring to is 35. He is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore.
Yeah, I'm looking at that verse right now.
So that he is present in every atom.
So it says, by his inconceivable power, he can at will create numberless universes. All the mundane universes owe their origin to the transformation of his external potency. Again, his abode is beyond human conception, since all worlds, limited and spiritual, exist in him, and he resides simultaneously in his fullness and entirety in all the atoms, in all the worlds. All pervasiveness is only a localized aspect of the majesty of Krishna, the Lord of all. Though he is all pervasive, yet in his existence everywhere, in a medium shape, consists his spiritual lordship beyond human conception. This argument favors the doctrine of simultaneous, inconceivable distinction and non-distinction, and knocks down the contaminating Mayavada and other allied doctrines. So in other words, the verse says that Krishna is an undifferentiated entity, as there is no distinction between potency and the possessor thereof. In his work of creation of millions of worlds, his potency remains inseparable. All the universes exist in him, and he is present in his fullness in every one of the atoms that are scattered throughout the universe as one and the same thing, at one and the same time. Such is the primeval Lord whom I adore. So obviously, if he's present in every atom of the universe, then it means that he can maintain everything in the universe. He's controlling everything in the universe. So the Lord, therefore, is the principle of gravity, holding up all these gigantic planets in their perfect orbits. And it says here, all the mundane universes owe their origin to the transformation of his external potency. Again, his abode is beyond human conception. Anyway, so Krishna is the, let's say, the principle of gravity, especially in his form as the transcendental snake, whose name is Adi,
Fish.
huh?
Fish.
Adisesha, yes. Because Adisesha has many heads, and on each head he's holding a planet. Yeah, so look that up where it says that. It doesn't, I don't think it says that in the Brahma Samhita. Let me see. So many mysteries in space. Asia. Asia. 90. Look here. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who, assuming his own great subjective form, who bears the name Shesha, replete with all accommodating potency, and reposing in the causal ocean with the infinity of the world in the pores of his hair, enjoys creative sleep or yoga nidra. Purport: the subjective nature of Ananta, who has the form of the couch of Mahavishnu, is described. Ananta, the same who is the infinite couch on which Mahavishnu reposes, is a distinctive appearance of the divinity bearing the name of Shesha, having the subjective nature of the servant of Krishna. Anyway, it's the Shesha is the one that's holding up all the planets in their orbits.
So there is a book called Rajavidya Maharaj.
Mm-hmm.
King of Knowledge. In that, it is written, Prabhupada, although scientists may think that the planets are being held in space simply by nature alone, behind nature there is a supreme. Nature is acting under his guidance. Mm. That's it. Yeah, the morning walk also Prabhupada said, according to our Shastra, the planets are held on the hood of Ananta.
Right. That's right.
Staying-
Yeah.
But they say they are staying on account of law of gravitation.
What?
But the scientists are saying that they are staying on account of law of gravitation.
Right.
That's what Prabhupada is saying.
But actually, it's an antashesha, and it's different heads that are holding the planets in space. Very interesting.
So Prabhupada is saying, according to our Shastra, the planets are held on the hood of Ananta. He is carrying, but they say they are staying on account of law of gravitation.
Well, anyway, they wouldn't be able to see Shesha anyway. He would be invisible to them. Okay, so that's enough for gravitation. All right, so let's see. Where did we stop here? Second chapter, verse number 28, right? So all created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? And purport, Prabhupada says, accepting that there are two classes of philosophers, one believing in the existence of the soul and the other not believing in the existence of the soul. There is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non-believers in the existence of the soul are called atheists by followers of Vedic wisdom. Yet even if, for argument's sake, we accept this atheistic theory, there's still no cause for lamentation. Apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifested before creation. From this subtle state of non-manifestation comes manifestation. Just as from ether, air is generated. From air, fire is generated. From fire, water is generated. And from water, earth becomes manifested. From the earth, many varieties of manifestations take place. Take, for example, a big skyscraper manifested from the earth. When it is dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifestation and remains as atoms in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains, but in course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. Then, what cause is there for lamentation, either in the stage of manifestation or unmanifestation? Somehow or other, even in the unmanifested stage, things are not lost. Both at the beginning and at the end, all elements remain unmanifested, and only in the middle are they manifest. And this does not make any real material difference. And if we accept the Vedic conclusion as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time, antavanta ime deha, but that the soul is eternal, nityasyokta saririna, then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. Therefore, why lament the changing of a dress? The material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is something like a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky or sitting on the chariot as a king. But when we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated on the chariot. The Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of the non-existence of the material body. Therefore, in either case, whether one believes in the existence of the soul or one does not believe in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation for loss of the body. Very nicely said by Srila Prabhupada. And there's another major statement here. The Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of the non-existence of the material body. So, if we believe that I am this body, then we get everything wrong. If we believe that I'm not this body, then we can get everything right. It's very important. So if I'm not this body, what am I? Well, I'm the soul that animates the body with consciousness. And one day, the body is going to die, but the soul will continue. And there are two bodies. We have the gross body and the subtle body. So when the gross body dies, the subtle body carries the soul to the next gross body until one becomes purified of all material desires and engages only in the service of Krishna. Then the gross body and the subtle body die at that point, and now one has a spiritual body. And the spiritual body is eternal. So even the subtle body is not eternal, but it's more, let's say, it exists even when the gross body dies. The subtle body will carry the soul to the next body. Either it's going to be a spiritual body or another gross material body. If it becomes a spiritual body, then the subtle body dies or ends. Okay. I think we should stop now. Are there any questions?
Any questions or comments?
So even the scientists, they have the principle of conservation of energy. And in other words, nothing ends. They just transform from one thing to another. So the conservation of energy is a law of nature. So in that sense, you could say that matter is also immortal. Matter also does not get destroyed. The only thing that gets destroyed are the forms of matter, but not matter itself. So these are all, transcendental philosophical points that many other people might disagree with. And then it says here that just as from ether, air is generated, from air, fire is generated, from fire, water is generated, and from water, earth becomes manifested. So this is a sequence of natural, cycles. It's good to understand them. Okay, so we will end right there. Thank you very much. And please chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol.
Question again.
You have a
Go ahead.
question?
Puja Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, at the end, did you just say that matter is never destroyed?
Yes.
So it just goes back into the universe, the matter.
Yeah, only the forms of matter can be destroyed, but matter itself is not. It's immortal, eternal. Yeah.
And
It's eternal, but it decomposes.
Well, it can change forms, but the basic matter itself is not subject to destruction.
Yeah, it's like a gold and gold ring versus gold necklace and gold chain, whatnot. But eventually, when melt all those things, then again it becomes gold.
So when they bury the body and put it in the ground, it decomposes. The bones are still there, but the matter goes where?
It
Like the
becomes dust. It becomes dust.
okay, okay.
But the bones also over time will deteriorate, but it takes them a lot longer.
Yeah. They go back into those 5 elements again, right? Like the
Earth, water, fire, air, ether.
Okay, so it goes back into the universe.
Yeah. Earth thou art, and earth thou shalt become. It's in the Bible.
Got it.
Yeah. Or dust thou art, and dust thou shalt become. Look that quote up in the Bible. I think it's dust thou art, and dust thou shalt become. Hare Krishna. What does it say?
dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return.
Okay.
Is indeed from Bible.
Well, it's only talking about the material body. And here's where we get the confusion between Christianity and Krishna consciousness. Just this quote, dust thou art, and dust thou shalt become. In other words, we are more than just dust, right? We have a soul. But they're basically talking about the body when they see that. Dust thou art, and dust thou shalt become.
Yeah. That's actually the wrong concept.
It's the wrong concept, yeah. The body, of course, it's the right concept for the body, but not for the soul.
But the first line is actually wrong. Dust art thou.
Mhm.
That means like you are the made with body, but that's not in Krishna is specifically saying you are not this body. So right there they are the
Yes, right. They're not talking about the soul there. They're just talking about the dust, which means the flesh. And it's going to, decompose. Okay, well, I think we'll stop right there. Thank you very
And
much. You have a question? Go ahead. Go ahead.
so the part where it said the body, when the body sinks, and then it floats back to the top.
Yes.
So is that because the body is decomposed and it's filled with air?
Gases.
Gases.
Due to the
body decomposing.
the decomposition, you have gases that develop, and then it makes the body float. At first, the body will go down, right? But then it becomes like a balloon. It comes back up.
Yeah, you see that in movies.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, movies.
You can see it for real in India. In India, many, I don't know if it's so current now, but previously you'll see all kinds of dead bodies coming down the Ganges.
Hmm.
You ever see that? You ever see that?
Not when I was there.
You ever see that? I've seen that.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that, but I've not been to.
Yeah, I've seen it. And then sometimes they get stuck on the bank
Um,
of the Ganges.
Yeah,
And it's, and the body's all puffed up,
yeah, because they're bloated with water and air.
Yeah.
I've heard about bodies getting washed onto the shore of the sea.
Also, yeah.
Is that because they float, Maharaj?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, because there are gases that are like
Do
stuck
they
inside.
explode? Do they explode?
I don't think so.
It's usually the stomach gases, right, Maharaj?
Yeah.
The stomach is like mainly what makes the blood, I think is what I've heard.
Yeah. I've seen it. It's a little shocking, and you see a dead body coming by.
Very.
There's photos of it. I mean, or there's pictures of it. You can probably see it now on the internet.
Mm.
A dead body coming down the Ganges River. It's the cheapest way to get rid of the body.
You said before in a previous lecture, Maharaj, right, that that's how some people do it, is they just put the body in the Ganges.
Yeah.
River.
Yeah.
I know camels explode after death. I saw that.
Okay. You see something?
Yeah, dozens of bodies wash up to the shore, and
What's it say? Say it out loud.
I'm seeing some pictures of lots of dead bodies in the Ganges water.
Right.
Some of them wash up to the shore and they get stuck in the sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that in India. You see everything in India.
Truly.
You realize how our life is very ephemeral and very, very, frail. Yeah. Especially when you see a body just floating down the river, it's dead. They just threw the body. Still got some garlands on.
Wow.
Yeah. And then sometimes it gets stuck on the bank of the river. That's even worse.
Yeah, like this is an example of like a dead body, 2, 3 dead bodies
Wow.
in the shore,
right?
Yeah.
near the shore.
Wow. You see everything in India. One thing you learn in India when you go there, if you've never gone there, you'll learn it right away. You can see it any second you could die, especially when you're in big cities like Calcutta. And, these buses are driving by really fast, and they're big buses. And it's very easy to have accidents. Yeah, very, very easy. You could get run over very easily. A lot of people die by accidents. So when you go to India, that's why you get a good chance to pray all the
Indeed.
time. One time when I went to India, early in the morning, I wanted to go on parikrama, in Vrindavan. So it usually starts around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, I walked out of the temple, and our temple in Vrindavan is on the path of what's called parikrama, where you start and you can go all the way around Vrindavan and come back again. Right. So I got up early, and there were a whole bunch of people up at that time, and they were going. So I just followed, right? And it's like, everyone is walking briskly. And all of a sudden, we entered into this like building. And to get into it, there was a real tight door. It wasn't, there was no door there. There was just an opening, but it was real tight. I had a little difficulty getting in. Then when I got in, everyone was just inching to move to the other side of that building to get out. And all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, I'm in this very, very tight area place with all these people, and you can't walk, you can just take very little steps, very slowly.
You get pushed.
And then you get to the other side, and there's a very small, hole.
Yeah, it's very claustrophobic.
Oh my God. I realized, if people panicked, we could all die very easily, or some of us would die easily. And see, that's what India is like, you see how ephemeral and how easy it is to die there.
Mm.
Anyway, by Krishna's mercy, I eventually got up to the exit, which was very small exit. Yeah. And then some people pushed me and I got out. And I was so happy to get out. Yes.
Every year for summer holidays, we used to go to Tirumala.
Yeah.
And then there is free darshan. That means you don't pay any money.
Yeah.
But it generally you're in the queue for almost anywhere between 24 to 36 hours.
Yes.
You stand in the queues. And then you keep going. It's a long queue. It is almost like 2 miles.
Yeah.
So you keep walking, and then you sit in some places as compartment, and then again they move you into another compartment, and then you keep moving. But the moment you get into the main temple,
Yeah.
right? So you have to go through the queue, and then there is, as you said, you have to go around the circumference of the temple, and then that's when you enter into the main temple. Yeah. There is a very small door.
Yeah.
And these huge number of people,
They're all trying to get in.
Are like just you're not even walking. You're basically get pushed.
Yes.
It's like you're
You can't walk. You can't walk.
Yeah, it's like a planet held in the space.
Right.
Yeah.
You're surrounded with people in all directions.
Yeah.
And then they're literally touching you.
Yeah.
And then you get pushed. And it is like anything, as you said, it is like anything can happen, and everybody is like chanting Govinda, Govinda.
Yeah,
Govinda.
It's the end of my life, so I may as well chant. You don't realize how you got in there,
Yeah.
Once you get in there, you realize, my God, I could
Yeah.
die anytime now.
Yeah. I think people there think that they will die. It's just part of them. They just move. They just do.
Oh, I thought I was going to die. I mean,
It's for Westerners, it's definitely
Shock.
Yeah, I just
out of
really-
body experience.
yeah, I just realized I have to surrender,
Yeah, you just surrender, Maharaj.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, you're not
You're not controlling it.
controlling anything.
Yeah. India is a very interesting place. Very, very interesting.
Okay, we'll end the session now.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. We'll see.